Luke, you said that you began day trading thinking it suited your personality and lifestyle. Then you transitioned to swing trading. Can you elaborate on the difference between these techniques technically and psychologically?
Yeah, I mean, technically, there's not loads of difference. That I think that was maybe just some weird thing I'd got in my head that there would be. I don't think I'd ever really considered it when I was day trading, but I mean, to use Patrick's word from earlier, it wasn't very sexy to be trading on slower time frames. The fun looked to be in the short term, stuck at your screen making lots of trades a day, and I think that's probably what sucked me into that. But then when I realised where my weaknesses were, swing trading was just the obvious answer to a lot of my problems. And as soon as I transitioned over to, like Patrick said, I mainly use the 4 hour, the daily time frame and the weekly time frame. Maybe sometimes I'll drop down to an hourly time frame, but not very often at all. And it just takes a lot of the stress out of things. You're not stuck to the screens like you were. You're not having to make rash decisions in a small time frame anymore. Uh, if you really understand your strategy, which most people don't, then trading on these time frames it becomes really easy. And the psychology part of it for me, I think, becomes easier because of that time. Because, yeah, like I say, there's no pressure in those time frames. But touching on what Patrick said about psychology, he's completely right. I spend quite a lot of time when I try and put some videos together because um, the more time I put in, the less waffle the viewer has to listen to it when if you make a video and it's sort of half-heartedly done, it doesn't come across very well. So it's I always think it's important to get your point across, but I'd spent quite a lot of time writing a script for a video talking about psychology and the importance of understanding where the flaws were. And I was really happy with the outcome of this video, and it's probably one of the worst performing videos on the channel. And like Patrick says, just nobody's bothered. The people that stumble across it think it's really good, and the feedback you get from the people that actually view it, they'll be really pleased with it and really happy with the content. But it's not appealing enough, and until people have made those mistakes, they don't search it out. So like Patrick said, it's you make these videos and this content to try and help people not make these mistakes, but actually what happens is it's in making these mistakes that they then find the content that would have helped them to begin with. So it is tricky.
Yeah, Luke's right. In terms of likes to dislikes, my psychology videos are the top performers.
Exactly.
That's the only place they perform, and he's right too. You know, the longer time frame you use, the less opportunities there are for you to jump in and mess up your trade. I even take it further and say, not only do I think you should trade the daily chart, I think you should take every single Forex trading app off of your phone. You know, don't give you, what are you looking at? You know, if you're trading the daily chart, you check in once a day. There's no need to check in more often than that, because now you're giving yourself even more opportunities to jump in and do something emotional, which is deviating from your system. And why even bother trading the longer time frames if you're just going to jump in and mess it all up? Sometimes you really have to take it to those extremes, or else, it doesn't matter what you tell people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's something that I overlooked a lot when I first started the YouTube channel. I still find it staggering today. The amount of people that solely trade from a mobile phone blows my mind, because I just don't know how. I don't know how you do it. I obviously have apps on my phone attached to my accounts for purely monitoring purposes, but there's no way I could do any sort of meaningful analysis or have any confidence in a trade that I'd seen based on what I've seen on my phone. Like Patrick says, if you're only checking the charts once, twice, maybe 3 times a day, to sit down at a proper screen and do things properly, for me, is the way to do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just want to be big shots and look cool and have those apps on their phone. I think that's what it comes down to for some people, whether they admit it or not.
Yeah, well, I spoke to Drew Neve, the founder and original CEO of FXCM, and he was like, from all the research that we've done about why people trade, they don't trade to make money, they trade to be right. And people want to go and tell that person next to them, like, hey, look, I made this money, I'm right. And it's like that ego thing, and that's why they hold on to losers, because they want to think they're right all the time.
Yeah, it becomes very valuable to that person, doesn't it? That they, like you say, they will hold on to trades for so much longer than they will hold on to winning trades, because the fear's there, the fear that they're going to be wrong. means that they hold the losing trades for way longer than they should. And the fear that when they're right and when the trade's going into profit, that they're then going to be wrong if it turns around, means that they end up snatching at potential profits. It kills them on both sides, unfortunately.
Yep. And really, as a man, we want respect and validation more than we want money. Crazy as that sounds, and that's so true. In the precious metals market, I've made a couple calls on my Discord forum, and I honestly hope those calls do better than any trade I'm in, just because it's my reputation and my ego on the line. Like, I don't care about the money I make as much as I do being right about those calls. And I think, everybody's like that. And so when those emotions come into play, and especially if other people know you're in those trades, I mean, you're not going to manage that trade the right way. You're going to do everything wrong just to look like somebody who knows what they're talking about. And that's just an added danger. So what drew you into starting out day trading as opposed to swing trading? There had to be a reason why you chose that horrible time-consuming lifestyle over the luxurious lifestyle we all enjoy now.
Like I say, I think it was just down to the sexiness, the appealness of it. It looks cooler. It's like we were saying earlier, we want to be validated, and it's almost like, well, that looks more difficult, so I'm going to do that one. It was that kind of thing, I think, and a lot of people that I was listening to around that time were day trading too. So I guess you do, if you get yourself caught up in like a little bubble of people that you listen to, then you sort of that's where you're guided by. So that's kind of what did that. And then I think the more I moved away from listening to other people and actually just doing things for myself, testing different ideas for myself, the more it started to just click that actually, you don't need to trade this way, and you're making this more difficult for yourself than it really needs to be. It's not even like the returns that you get from day trading, I don't think, are any better than swing trading because of those extra speed bumps that you put in your own way. So the more that started to resonate with me, the more I just started to move away from it.
Yeah, and you're right. I would argue it's worse but think of it too, when you were learning Forex trading, probably just like I was, most of the examples you saw, especially when they were teaching you technical analysis, they were on a 5-minute and a 15-minute chart. I didn't see many examples on the daily. Did you? I just thought that this was just the way you did it. These are the charts you should trade with.
Yeah, I honestly, I remember at one point thinking, I don't even really know what the relevance of these charts are. Like, how is a weekly chart supposed to influence the trading decision that I'm going to make in the next 20 minutes? Like, what relevance can that chart have on my decision making? And like you say, once it starts to click, it's really, what relevance is a 5-minute chart showing you? That is just noise at that level, and it's so difficult to try and find an edge in those scenarios compared to the longer, slow moving timeframes.